the other day that had no idea I even did a Disney podcast. And he was like, so what do y'all do? Well, what was a Disney podcast entail? I'm like, we talk about, best times to go to Disney, favorite rides, that kind of thing. He's like, yeah, I'm older. I don't have any kids. I want to go, but that's a lot of waiting in line, standing on my feet and everything like that. I'm like, you don't have to do all that. They have fine dining, first class resorts, great bars, cocktails that you've never tried anywhere else. He's like, but I'm in Disney. I'm like, yeah. He's like, and there's bars and everything. It's like, yeah. But how am I see the rides then? It's like, well, you don't have to see the rides. He's like, but I want to see the rides. I'm like, that's what I'm saying. You don't have
Then you're going to be on your feet.
Exactly.
Mad at you.
Both ways.
Make up your mind what you want.
I want it all. I want the
stand
best.
in line for the rides. I think book a spa vacation to massage your feet.
No, you gotta get the drink first, Kevin. Then you go to the ride and wait. Then you throw out the drink, get on the ride, and then boom. Then you massage.
Then you massage your feet. Okay, yeah,
and I kept telling him, I was like, dude, if you just went, I swear, you and your wife would have the best time in the world. Because Disney is a great place to go for adults only.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So too. All right, should we get into some listener questions?
Oh, yeah.
Let's get
all
into
the
it.
time.
Here's
Listeners,
what they
Save the best
they
for
got.
last.
Yeah.
All
what they
right,
got.
I'm going to use first names. All right, so this is a question from Keith and Karen.
Hey, all right.
Professor X.
Yes.
That's our guy.
And so here's what it says. My brother-in-law is coming off a cruise on May 17th and then going right to Disney World from Norwegian Cruise Terminal. What would you suggest as a 2-day itinerary for coming right off a cruise and going right to a park and then leaving Monday afternoon? And so then they give us some context on the travel party. It's going to be 6 adults, no kids. 1 has never been there. So 1 out of the 6 has never been to Disney. 1 person has never been there. 1 has only been there twice before, and the rest are seasoned veterans. So 1 never been, 1 only twice, and then 4 seasoned veterans. Thanks.
I'm guessing we didn't get the age of the person who's never been?
No, just adults.
Okay.
Drinking age. Okay.
Never been.
Yeah, and it's May, so spring. And that's a pretty good time to go. Usually middle of May.
Yep, as you
Schools aren't
said.
out
Yep.
yet. Last weeks of school for the South. So a lot of students are in school because they're doing all that end of year stuff, finals and things like that. So yeah, so the first thing I would say is I like for the day that you've gotten off the cruise. So your disembarkation day. If you're going right to a park, I like Epcot. Epcot doesn't really get rolling until like 11, 12 o'clock.
Okay, yeah, because usually you disembark early in the morning, yeah.
Yeah. So you get time to get to Epcot before everything's really rolling. And I also like Epcot on that day because it'll be Flower and Garden Festival. And that'll be really nice and relaxing. You can go around to the booths, get food, get drinks, and just kind of have a nice eating and drinking day off of your cruise, walking around, enjoying the flowers. That's my recommendation for your first day off your cruise is Epcot.
I can see that as a good transition because, you have all the kind of adult-ish kind of amenities you'd have on a cruise boat, but it's not all-inclusive, so you have to get used to paying for each one.
Yes.
Like you did with
Yeah.
both. So you kind of make that transition to like just paying for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of a bummer. That next day, I think really depends on what the people you're with want to do. So with one person who's never been there at all, if that person really wants to like see the castle, I would do Magic Kingdom the next day. I feel like you kind of have to. But if that person doesn't really care about Disney and is just kind of going because you guys are going, I'd find out like, are there Star Wars fans? Do people really want to do that? Me, if it were me, I'd be at Animal Kingdom. And the reason I pick Animal Kingdom is because I like the ambiance. I don't think you spend the whole day waiting in lines. I think there's a lot of other stuff to do. And it closes early. And so you'll be in bed and then you have to fly home. And it's been a long week. You've been on that cruise. You went to Epcot the day before. And so it kind of forces you to get some sleep before your travel day. So that's what I would pick if it were me. But I also understand that like you got someone who's never been, you might need to do Magic Kingdom.
You got to do
Yeah,
Magic Kingdom.
yeah, you have to.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, you got to. I mean, you got to show them Pirates. You got to show them Haunted Mansion.
Oh, the castle.
Well,
I mean, it just doesn't feel like a Disney
yeah.
thing unless you've seen that castle.
But like she said, if there's like, hey, I'm just going to get out the house, and maybe you're trying to convert them, but yeah, that's still a good way to show them the foundation of everything that they have, whether they like it or not, because they're going with you. They ain't got no choice.
I'm curious though, like, so Rachel, if a family calls you and says, I want to book a 3-day trip to Disney, it's going to be me, my husband, and our 2 kids. And the kids are like 7 and 8 years old. I don't know.
Okay.
They got to skip one park. All right.
Yeah.
Which park do they skip if they've never done anything?
I would say most of the time that person chooses to skip Epcot.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. With
Less
the 7
to
and
do
8,
for
the
kids.
7 and 8 year olds. And the reason typically what I'll say to people is a lot of people want Animal Kingdom. I know Kirk is rolling his eyes right now, and it's not just because I love Animal Kingdom, but what I'm going to say is a lot of people want, with little kids, like 7 and 8 year old kids are young, they want the animals because they think the kids are going to be really into that. So Animal Kingdom usually isn't on the chopping block. Although if I were just like giving people advice, I probably would recommend skipping Animal Kingdom if I had to pick one to skip. If I was looking for like 3 full days at the parks, I probably would recommend skipping that. But most people with kids that age want Animal Kingdom because of the animals.
It's easy pleasing, yeah.
Right. So then my question is, how important is Frozen? How important is Star Wars? How important is Toy Story? And so based on the answer to those questions, I figure out of Hollywood Studios and Epcot which one they should skip. The other thing too is if your 7 and 8 year old don't like thrill rides, Hollywood Studios isn't really, there's not a lot there.
Rachel's like the forensic travel agent, man. Like she gets to the heart of what it is that your family wants.
Based upon their
stuff,
profile, their behavior. Yeah, now that's deep.
I want Coco.
Yeah.
Well,
I haven't gotten that one yet, but
we're going to Disneyland or something like that.
Usually I would say like when someone says, oh, my son's obsessed with Star Wars, then like, well, you just answered the question.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
there's that.
Easy
Or,
peasy.
you know, like all my daughter wants to do is meet Elsa. Oh, okay. Well, then you have to go to Epcot. Like,
Yeah.
so we got to figure out, you know, what the other thing is. But yeah, usually I would say it's Epcot or Hollywood Studios people are deciding between. But if they have older kids that like thrill rides, then it's Animal Kingdom is more on the chopping block. Never Magic Kingdom. People are always going to Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I could see that. You kind of have to.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to the next one. This is from Kyle. Kyle wants to know, what is your favorite attention to detail at Walt Disney World? This is something that thematically makes the Disney difference.
Ooh.
Attention to well, good
Wow.
question.
What's the Disney difference? And for me, it's staying at the resorts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's to me, like, I just think it would not be a Disney vacation for me if I wasn't staying at a Disney resort. They have a certain feel. And I think this, especially because I've stayed at the Hilton Head Resort that is outside of Walt Disney World, and it still has that, like, I can't describe it, just like a Disney feel. There's something about it. And so they're doing something at their resorts that really, for me, like, is the Disney difference. And it's not necessarily the service, although I'd like to say it was, but there's something about the way they design those resorts that just, it feels different.
Oh, agreed. 100%. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's not the same vacation when you stay at the Holiday Inn. It really isn't.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Totally different.
Or like a couple years ago with a bunch of friends, we rented a house outside of the parks, like a big house. This was 4 families all stayed together. And I didn't even go to the Disney parks because I was like, you know what? Even though we're just 20 minutes away, it doesn't feel like a Disney vacation. So we went to Universal and Discovery Cove. But if I'm going to Disney, I got to be at those resorts.
Yeah.
Be in
No.
the bubble.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what would be my favorite attention to detail within the parks itself. And it was the only thing I can come up with off the top of my head, and I really want to think about it a little bit more, is I still remember when Lil first went to the Haunted Mansion. She had a bad reaction when you hear that scream in the stretching room,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, boom, the breaking of sounds like
Some kind of glass.
or pottery
Oh,
or
yeah.
something. Yeah, there's that loud bang, and she kind of freaked. So the second time we went on, we asked if there was a way we could skip the stretching room. You know, like absolutely. And they bring us into this little corridor where you wait until that part of it's over, and then you rejoin them where you load onto the doom buggies.
Yeah.
That corridor was incredibly themed.
Yeah.
It I was just like, wow, they didn't even need to do this. Like, this is just, they're theming the little area, the waiting area that you get on to get into, so you don't have to wait in the stretching room. I'm like, wow, that's going above and beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to remember what was there. I think it was like boxes of like, oh, I'm
That's like it's a bypass.
It's a
hallway.
bypass,
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really, really cool.
I don't want to hold up the show by trying to remember, but it was really, really cool. I was like impressed, and I started taking pictures like crazy.
Yeah. I love that.
I felt like I
love
was
that.
backstage or something.
You kind of were.
Yeah, my favorite detailed things